So switching gears a bit, let's get back to the beginning.
Okay.
The original Honest Lee story. So if give us a background of what prompted you to start your handyman business, where you're at, and kind of an overview of your journey in the first. I mean, you've been in business now, what, 5 years?
5 years.
Okay. So kind of give us a rundown of mostly fleshing out the very beginning, because I know a lot of our viewers, a lot of our listeners, they're either brand new or they're navigating like, can I do this? Which I think we've proven from the podcast so far is that you certainly
can
100% can, and you should if you feel that in your heart. So walk us through the beginning story and how you've gotten to where you are now.
Okay. All right. So first off, in high school, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I got involved in metal shop, and through that, and then I got also involved in automotive classes and stuff like that. And my teacher there recommended that I go check out automotive college or trade school, So I went to Universal Technical Institute in 2009. And got certifications in Ford, diesel, auto mechanics, everything. So I was a trained auto mechanic. And at that point, through that school, I was working part-time as an auto mechanic. And then after I graduated, that auto shop didn't have any full-time positions available. So I went and worked at a farm, and I was the head mechanic. And then I worked into managing all the, planting and harvesting of that. But that's kind of that's a side story. So, and then after that, I ended up going to work for an auto shop. And then come about 2016, my wife had been involved in a at-home business, basically selling product and stuff like that. And we were told by people from that business that we should go to this personal development seminar. And we're like, we don't need that. We don't need some broad telling us how to live our life. Like, we don't need that. You know what I mean?
Development.
Or a personal
I'm
development.
so developed already.
Right. I got a career. Like, you know what I mean?
Like mortgage?
Come on, I got a mortgage. Like, I don't need that, And so we kept telling him, no, we don't need that. You know what I mean? But really, come down to it. Like, since we're being real, we couldn't afford it, right? We just couldn't afford it, And so I remember it was the summer of 2016, and we're like, man, we just need to shut these people up because they just keep asking for us to go to this stupid event. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to buy the dang tickets. I bought them on a credit card because we couldn't afford them. But part of that was like, okay, now that we bought these tickets, we got to figure out a way to pay them off, because I don't want to have credit card debt. So
that is ironic.
Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if that's the best word for it, but
it gets more ironic. Just wait. So I'm like looking at my skills. I'm like, okay, how the heck can I make more money? Right? Like, I don't have a pretty face. So I'm like,
beauty's in the eye of the beholder, bro.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. Okay. Well, good. So I'm like, well, I can like change out dishwashers and stuff, like kitchen faucets, because I've done that.
Good question.
Yeah.
How much were those tickets?
Oh, like $400
each?
I don't know.
I'm just trying to put it all in perspective when you're done.
I'm thinking it was probably $200 a piece. Okay. I think it was probably 400 total.
400 total.
But then we had to
fly
there. Then we had to fly there and get the hotel, and it was in like Texas or something.
Okay, so it was like $1,200, $1,500 trip.
It probably would have been $1,200. Yeah. That's good perspective. I like that. Okay, so I'm like, oh, I can offer handyman services. So I create this horrible looking ad, of like, oh, handyman services, right? Hire me, And then I started doing all this work in the nights and weekends, and for like super cheap though, But I was loving it. It was so fun. Like, it was fantastic working for people and making my own money, and soon enough, I started making more money in the nights and weekends than I did at my day job. So I'm like, well, this is kind of interesting. It was funny. Now I'm actually good friends with my old boss now. He's actually a distant family member, but we joke. He jokes with me. He's like, yeah, I remember you would, bring a uniform into work and change right there in your stall, and then you'd be off in your handyman work. But pretty funny. And so I fell in love with it. Just fell in love with it. And so soon enough, and then I went to the business seminar or the personal development seminar, and it was more like a business seminar, and it gave me the aptitude to start this thing, and I remember leaving that. I went to that seminar not even thinking about doing this thing full time, but I left like wanting to run it full time.
Okay,
you know.
So you you bought the tickets, and it was like coming up, say, in like a month. And so between then buying the tickets and actually going to the seminar, you started the handyman part time.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
And then she gave me the info I needed to start this thing full time.
Okay.
And really, most of it was just mindset. You know, it's like, hey, you can go do something on your own. You can make a living. You know, you don't need to be working for someone for the rest of your life on a job that you hate. You know. And it's really funny because, you know, I was also in a Bible study at that time with this guy named Jason Call. And I told him, I'm like, man, you know, I want to start up this handyman business. And Jason, who is you, we'll just put the cat out of the bag, was like, oh, and you could call it Honest Lee Handyman. And we're like, yeah, that's an awesome name, you know. But then I was going back and forth between like Integrity Handyman or Lee's Integrity or Honest Lee Handyman, and I ended up going with Honest Lee. And so it's the origin is with you, and then I asked you to create a website for me, and you knocked it out of the park. And then I started this thing full time, and then you started your thing full time, and it's just like it's been fantastic, an amazing, crazy journey. So
yeah,
that's kind of the origin of me. So I remember December 30th was the last working day. It was a Friday of the year. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to quit on December 30th and then go full-time January 1st or whatever day, January 1st or 2nd. And so
that was January 1st of 2017.
Yep, is when I went full-time.
Okay.
Yep. And so I quit December 30th and went full-time in January.
Okay.
And
when did you start on the side? How long part-time?
It was August of 2016.
Okay, so 4 months, and you were screaming, ready to go.
Oh yeah. Well, I was making more money than my day job.
Yeah.
And that was the biggest thing for me.
Okay.
Was like, I can do this.
Yeah.
You know.
Awesome.
And
So